And I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regularly scheduled Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the City of Show Low for September 24th, 2019. I believe it's 7 p.m. right now. Roll call shows that all commissioners are present. We're going to have an invocation by Commissioner John Adams and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Rob Hepner. So I'd ask you all to please stand.
Our Father in heaven, we are so grateful that we could meet together this evening. We are grateful that we have such a beautiful community that we get to enjoy. And we pray as we talk and discuss about our community that thy Spirit will be here, that it will help us to make the decisions necessary. We're so grateful for the moisture we've been blessed with. Now it's helped our lands, and we are so grateful for it. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, seeing that we have no old business, go to item 6A, new business, conditional use permit application submitted by Doug Fedrick and Sue Pararli for conditional use permit to allow for a guest home on property located at 720 West Sierra Pines, that being APN 210-44-120A. Ms. Feckelcutter.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. A conditional use permit, or CUP application, has been submitted by Doug Fedrick and Sue Parulli to allow for a guest house at 720 West Sierra Pines Drive, that being APN 210-44-120A. The subject property is 2.16 acres, or 94,090 square feet, with an existing 3,827 square foot home, according to city permit records. The applicants plan to build a 960 square foot detached guest house, including a 1,040 square foot 3-car garage for a total of 2,000 square feet for a family member on the subject property. The guest house will utilize a shared driveway and shared utilities. The subject property is zoned AR 43X, which is single-family residential manufactured homes excluded, 43,000 square feet. A CUP is required for a guest house not to exceed the total living area of the main dwelling, provided the total intensity of the land use shall be a minimum of 43,000 square feet of lot area per dwelling unit. City Code defines a guest house as living quarters consisting of one or more rooms designed, occupied, or intended for occupancy as detached living quarters with cooking, sleeping, and sanitary facilities which may or may not be utilized for income purposes. Findings of fact. CUP 602-04-222 has submitted by Doug Fedrick and Sue Parulli to allow for a guest house at 720 West Sierra Pines, that being APN 210-44-120A. The subject property is 2.16 acres, or 94,090 square feet, with an existing 3,827 square foot home, according to city permit records. The applicants plan to build a 960 square foot detached guest house, including a 1,040 square foot 3-car garage, for a total of 2,000 square feet for a family member on the subject property. The guest house will utilize a shared driveway and shared utilities. The submitted site plan indicates that the proposed guest house will be set back approximately 241 feet from the front property line. This may be subject to change. The subject is zoned AR 43X, which is single-family residential manufactured homes excluded, 43,000 square feet. A CUP is required for guest house not to exceed the total living area of the main dwelling, provided the total intensity of the land shall be a minimum of 43,000 square feet of lot area per dwelling unit. Per city code, defines a guest house as living quarters consisting of one or more rooms designed, occupied, or intended for occupancy as a detached living quarters with cooking, sleeping, and sanitary facilities which may or may not be utilized for income purposes. The current zoning of the surrounding properties includes to the north MH, which is manufactured housing, and to the south, east, and west AR-43X. The current land uses of the surrounding properties includes to the north vacant residential, and to the south, east, and west Sierra Pines subdivision. Transmittal memos were sent to all affected agencies, and applicable comments received include From the fire district, the guest unit shall meet the requirements of the 2015 International Fire Code, or IFC, including Appendix D. The property was posted and letters were sent to all property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. A phone call regarding general questions about the nature of the request was received. Since the preparation of the staff report, the applicant has provided a copy of the Sierra Pines HOA approval, which has been provided for your review. The Sierra Pines HOA has found that the plans are compliant with their CCNRs, and the plans have been submitted to the city for review for issuance of building permit. After reviewing the standards for review, zoning ordinance, discussions with the applicant, and because the request is consistent with the City of Show Low general plan, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve conditional use permit 602-04-222 submitted by Doug Frederick and Sue Perulli for a guest house at 720 West Sierra Pines, that being APN 21044-120A, subject to the following conditions. 1. All development shall comply with all applicable federal, state, and local requirements, including building permit and fire code, including Appendix D of the 2015 IFC. The guest unit shall conform to all development standards of the zoning district in which it exists, including primary residence setback. 3. The guest unit shall utilize a shared driveway and utility connections. And 4. A maximum of one dwelling per unit per property may be utilized for income purposes. Staff, as well as the applicant, are available for questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Eckler-Potter. Does any commission members have questions of staff at this time?
I have a question.
Commissioner Adams.
If you could explain to me, so I make sure I understand, by having a kitchen and how that changes everything, and that's what we're doing, right?
Correct. So we've got the, now we'll go back to the aerial. So as shown on the aerial, we've outlined the properties that are in question this evening. You can see that this is parcel 210-44-120A. The applicant actually owned 2 adjacent lots within Sierra Pines. They have combined those lots now into one single lot, which is why you see the letter A at the end. That's usually a pretty good indication that a lot's either been combined with something else or split beyond something else. In this case, they wish to construct a guest house on what was the vacant lot adjacent to the home. By city code, we define a guest house as, and it includes several things, but it is living quarters with one or more room designed, occupied, or intended as detached living quarters, and then we call out 3 things that it has to have. It has to have cooking facilities, it has to have sleeping facilities, and sanitary facilities, which is a bathroom. So in this case, because they are proposing to put a full kitchen in the in what is termed the guest house, it meets this definition and therefore requires a conditional use permit as a detached guest house. If it was attached to the home, that actually would be a permitted use within the zoning district that this property resides.
Okay. And then one more quick, so they could be a future rental in the future for anybody that would do something like that.
By city code, because of the overall lot size, when we were doing the guest house provisions several years ago, up until just a few years ago, you could not do a detached guest house on your property within the city. It was not an option. We modified our code. We recognized that there were some, perhaps some changes socially around, where we're seeing parents that are aging in place that are now coming home to live with their children, but don't want to live actually in the same home as their children, but perhaps need a little bit of supervision. And so a detached guest house would be desirable for that situation. We also saw where housing affordability is becoming an issue in this community, as it is in many other communities in the area and just nationwide. And we felt that by adding the option for people to have a detached guest home with the ability to rent that that could help address some of the, not only just the parents maybe having to come back and live with you, but also potentially the housing affordability issue that we have here. The concern was that we not take what was a single-family property, and in this case, that would be a 43,000 square foot piece of property, just under an acre, and start putting multiple dwelling units on that just slightly less than an acre parcel. And so to help address that concern, the condition in code that was put in states that if you have a 43,000 square foot lot, you can only have one dwelling unit on that lot in the AR 43X zone. If you want to have two dwelling units on your lot, you need to have at least 43,000 plus an additional 43,000. That way, the overall dwelling count within that subdivision would remain the same. So if I purchased a lot in a subdivision, thinking that it was only going to have 100 homes on there, I don't end up with 99 of my neighbors putting an extra dwelling unit on what I thought was a single family lot. If they want to buy two lots and put one on the second lot, that's okay. And that's the situation that we have before us this evening. That's what the applicant has done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tregaskis. Any other questions of the commission for staff?
So
Commissioner Hefner?
the garage is larger than the house, so I get the idea that the garage is of importance here. And would that be any different if it was just a garage being placed on the property?
If it was just a garage, it would not meet the definition of a guest house because it doesn't have the sanitary, it doesn't have the sleeping, it doesn't have the cooking facilities. We are seeing where people are building detached garages, and in some cases, they're fairly large detached garages. Those meet code as long as you can show that you meet setbacks from property lines.
Any other questions of the commission for staff? All right, is the commission have any questions for the applicant at this time? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for discussion and for possible motion. We need to open this up for a public hearing. Okay, thanks.
Motion?
Yep.
I move to approve CUP 602-04-222 submitted by Doug Frederick and Sue
Ruley.
Peruli to allow for a guest house at 720 West Sierra Pines Drive, that being APN 210-44-120A, subject to staff recommendation.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Robertson. Do I have a second? I have a second from Commissioner John Adams. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Tregaskis.
As with all conditional use permits, there is a 7-day appeal period. If no appeal is received by the city clerk within the next 7 days, this will be considered effective.
Thank you both. We appreciate you. Go to item 7, call to the public. Before I'll ask the two of you if you want to come up and say anything to the commission before I read the boilerplate language.
Thank you very much.
All right. Seeing nobody coming to the call to the public, we'll go to item 8A, approval of minutes, Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting of August 27th, 2019. I just, for Linda, I just had one correction. On page number 3, towards the bottom, it says that you identify Commissioner Robertson as Chairwoman Robertson. And so we probably should clean that up. So do I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as amended?
Motion to approve minutes as amended.
All right. I have a motion by Commissioner Hefner. Do I have a second? Commissioner Josh Adams, excuse me, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, brings us to summary of current events. We'll start with Commissioner Josh Adams.
I don't have anything. Went to the itty bitty Olympics. The city does that very well. My daughter loves it, so she won another little medal, and we'll be standing on things for the next 3 weeks.
I think it's great that we see an improvement in our home on the hill.
Oh,
Eat it tonight when I went by.
Great.
nice. And I want to ditto the itty bitty Olympics and State Farm, Jill Tinkle, for sponsoring that. My grandsons, both of them, I had a 2-year-old win second place in javelin, and my 6-year-old, no 5-year-old, oh God. BB's in trouble. He won first place in the run. So, it's really fun.
Nothing to share. Thank you.
I will just like to, I want to thank the Adams family. We have 2 commissioners who are the posterity of those who've donated the, I believe they've donated the cabin there to go with the community center over there with the Sholo's first jail. I think that's going to be a phenomenal addition. Commend the city for preserving that and kind of sprucing up that area over there. That's going to be a great opportunity for people in the area to come and see kind of our history from Sholo. So, and I think it's great that we have 2 members of the commission who are the posterity of that family. So tell your family thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very cool.
All I have, Mr. Triascus.
Just a couple things. First, I'd like to add on with our thanks to the Adams family. Sholo does not have a very large amount of what we would consider historical buildings for a lot of reasons, but we don't. And so we're grateful for the Adams family and for them really stepping forward and presenting a proposal to us here at the city to preserve obviously some of their history, but by association, some of the city's history as well. The building has been moved. It's been relocated. It is now here on the corner of 9th and Hall. Is that correct? I get Hall and Huning mixed up a lot. So, corner of Huning. There we go. Thanks to Morgan Brown. We are in the process of getting foundation and things underneath that building. Also some preservation efforts to help ensure that that building will be able to be here for a long time, highlighting some of our history here. One of the big things that people will see as these efforts will be replacing the roof that is on there currently. And so you'll see if you drive by, if you come look, you'll see some efforts taking place there. Ultimately, the goal is to make that something that we can showcase, not just for the city, but also for the Adams family as well. And again, we appreciate that. Also, just want to let the commission know that we do not have a meeting scheduled for October 8th. So for both the commission and those watching at home, if you tune in on Tuesday night on the 8th, you will not see these guys, but I'm sure it will be just exciting to see whatever other show we have on at that time. So with that, Chair, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Trigascus. With that, I guess, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. And a second.
Second.
And a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? You can stay here.
We'd like to thank all of you for everything. This is the greatest community we've lived in. Doing process to keep it